I got something positive to say about Hoyoverse. I do. Genuinely, this isn't a troll. This is nothing negative. There is a massive Hoyoverse W. Now, granted, this was brought on by the US government, but let's talk about the most recent patch in Hoyoverse. Shout out to Fob for sharing these. We got some pretty big updates to the monetization of Genshin Impact. And I think this will be bleeding into other gacha games very soon, including Wuthering Waves. So let's break this down. New Genshin Impact visual representation of unit prices per pull in top-up menu, as well as full representation of consolidated probability plus price probabilities, assuming no purchase bonus. So we look here, and now I'm not gonna be honest with you. These prices are absolutely insane. $1 gets you 0.7 of a pull. $1 gets you 0.7 of a singular pull. These gacha rates are insane and they need to change. But anyways, we'll continue. 300 Genesis crystals, which is $5, will be giving you 2 pulls, right? So its US price is 1.32, $1.32 per pull. 980, which is $14. You're getting 6.8 pulls, so the price is going down to 221. And so 1980, which is $30, you get 14 pulls. Guys, $30 is more money. Just to put this in perspective, if you live in America, I don't even know what the minimum wage is, like 18 or something, right? Like if you work at like a lot of jobs, you're not even making $30 an hour, right? For years on end, like $30 is 14 pulls. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. This is surprising to me. This is why I really try to not spend on these games anymore. I'm really trying to save up money. And this really shows the value of a dollar, bro. Like, let's go on. $50 is 24.2 pulls. Oh my God. And then obviously the 100, not including top up, is $1. And by the way, of course, Fob doesn't have the top up here, you whale. $1.98 per pull, 50.5. The consolidated probability of obtaining 5 stars event exclusive characters, including wish guarantees and capturing radiance, is 1.103%. The cost of obtaining a 5-star event exclusive character may vary from $1.98 to $475.20. Now, if you remember that conversation back on that podcast of the maximum of a character, seems like it was more than $300, and Genshin is showing this in pure English, right? But anyways, I digress. Almost $500. This is including if you lose your 50-50 and go to max pity twice, right? So obviously that's if you're really unlucky. But this is a massive W that they're displaying this information. Now, granted, again, this was given on to them by some sort of legislation by the government. But the fact that they did implement this very quickly is awesome. Now, there's another thing that we have here. US Genshin Impact players will now have to go through an age verification process rolling out on May 20th. I hope you guys are old enough to play gacha games. What are we? Dear travelers, we are required by law to age verify US player accounts. The age verification process will be rolled out to US players by May 20th while login, if you already have one, or account registration. It'll be for new players as well. Please ensure to provide your age information by July 18, 2025. Failure to do verify will result in account suspension, in-game friends and chat records being deleted, and no further notifications post-suspension due to inaccessible account information as required by law. If the verification is not completed by July 20th, 2026, the personal information of your Hoyoverse account will be permanently deleted. Now, my interpretation of the bottom is that their personal information, such as card info, things like that, PayPal, would be deleted. I don't think that means their account would be deleted. I know a lot of people were speculating, like, hey, does this mean your account's gone? I'm not necessarily sure, but I do believe it will just be your account info in terms of your banking info. And as someone has posted right here, this is literally why this has happened. Genshin Impact publisher to pay $27 million to settle a lawsuit. Now, at the end of the day, right, again, these are all great changes that I am in massive favor of. I am. I do think gacha games should be rated age 18, but that is a reality we will never live in. So the fact that they are displaying the full price is great. It is great, and again, it really puts it into perspective as someone who is I still do real life work on top of my content creation. Like, dude, $475 and like 20 cents for a character in a game that's going to wind up getting power crept in X amount of time, or when the game just wind up ends. It's kind of crazy. And I do think that this is going to bleed into every other game. I think this will bleed into Wuthering Waves. I think this will bleed into Arknight's Enfield, etc. And I do think a lot of companies will probably see a bit of a down period in the polling, because when you put the monetary value to it, like you when you buy $30, right? Like I just bought $30 in Wuthering Waves for Zany, and I didn't even realize like technically how much pulls it was. I just realized, wait a second, I'm out. Okay, I need to buy more. And then you buy another 30. It's like, dude, that's $60 gone, right? And so, very happy that this is in the game. You could visually see what's happening. Yes, you'll have to read. People might not read this one, and that's on them, but this one is very easy to read and very straightforward. So kudos to them for not trying to hide it, not trying to cover it up with fluff. It's just straight up there. Now, this is interesting. I have some thoughts on this. I don't know how I 100% feel, because the verification by July 18th resolving an account suspension is a little crazy. Where I don't know if an account suspension is necessarily the right way to go about it. I don't know if they're going to send emails out to people, or if it's just the next time you log in. I don't know how this is going to work. But a lot of people put the game down. They pick it up months later, years later, whatever the case may be. And I've never been suspended in a gacha game before, especially a Hoyoverse game. So I don't really know what the process would be like to actually acquiring your account back. But I assume it's probably not an easy process, especially because multi-billion-dollar company, massive conglomerate, customer service is going to have no idea what the other head is doing. Like, so an account suspension is very interesting. Again, I think if they're going to do account suspensions, maybe they push the limit back a little bit more. But no, you know what, man? No. I don't agree with that. I'm sorry. I take that back. No, I think this is fine. I think this is fine. I think it does seem like a short time period, but at the end of the day, this is to prevent children from spending on the game when their parents are not aware. And you know what? The sooner they do this, the better. So no, I'm 100% wrong. And that's why I was a little bit conflicted on, because it's like, what happens to the account? Because what happens to the account if you are willing to get your parents' consent to play the game and your account is suspended? How is that process happening? But you know what, man? At the end of the day, this shit's legal gambling. It's just legal gambling. You lose a lot of money. You can lose your life to this shit, in the sense of like people just get so invested in these games, whether it's character, story, the communities, drama. Man, gotcha tribalism at an all-time high. And so, no, I think this is fine. I'm lying to you. This part, as long as the account is not officially deleted. I think if they officially delete the account, I think that's scummy, because people might want to come back to it eventually. So that I don't like. But if your account is suspended, and if it's a straightforward process saying, okay, try to log in, you're suspended, type an email here. Or like when you log in, submit a request here, bam, and we'll get back in contact with you. And you might have to wait a week or two or whatever. I think that's fine. But going through other parties and other medias and forums, try to get unsuspended, I think is going to be a fucking pain in the ass. But overall, yeah, massive W to Hoyoverse. Massive W to Hoyoverse. I take back, retract my first statement. I don't think this is too little of a time. Too little of a time frame. 2 months is fine. Yeah, the suspension is going to have to deal with that. And yeah, this is great. I'm so very happy to see this. And again, it really puts into perspective. I'm going to try my hardest to not swipe on gacha games unless I'm doing giveaways. Because this stuff is expensive, man. This stuff is expensive. And I also just want to say, as a overall message, I'm going away for about a week. And don't let the gacha space consume you. Like, don't get too involved in the communities. Like, don't let it ruin your mental health, your physical health. Don't get lost in the sauce. Play the games you enjoy. Someone shits on them, including myself. It is what it is. Just move on, you know? A lot of people are getting a little too invested into this. And yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, you look at this, and $100 that you could have spent on food, rent, and bills comes out of 50.5 pulls. This is not real life. These games are not permanent. None of these gacha games are permanent, and they will come to an end eventually. And the character that you might have S6 will probably get power crept, right? So I'm not trying to virtue signal. I'm just trying to, have a come to reality moment. I had a come to reality of my moment for myself quite a few times over the past 2 weeks. So yeah, I just want to throw that out there. Word of the day is peace, love, and happiness. Legitimately, I hope everyone's doing well, and I love you guys. I'll be back soon. I got videos scheduled for the whole week while I'm gone. Mwah.